Now, general characteristics of solid state. The state of any matter depends on intermolecular forces and thermal energy. These 2 points you have to just remember. Very simple question appears from here. Intermolecular forces are those forces which attract one another. So this is one molecule, this is a second molecule. Intermolecular forces will attract each other. And thermal energy, if you heat anything, it actually brings the molecules apart from one another. So that's why the solids melt when you provide heat. So thermal energy actually will move these particles away. It means when any substance is in solid phase, intermolecular forces should be greater than the forces applied by thermal energy. Simple question appears from here. Intramolecular, that is force of attraction, should be greater than the forces which are responsible to move the particles apart, that is thermal energy. The intermolecular forces tend to keep the molecules or atoms or ions closer, whereas thermal energy tends to keep them apart by making them move faster through kinetic energy. At sufficiently low temperature, the thermal energy is low. At high temperature, thermal energy will be higher. At low temperature, it will be low. So there will be a certain temperature at which thermal energy will be at such a low level that it will be less than intermolecular forces, and then the substance will exist as either liquid or solid. So if intermolecular forces are greater too much, then solid. If close, then liquid. Now in solid state, molecules cannot move, particles cannot move, but remember, they can still oscillate, they can vibrate. So another question appears, 1 mark question appears from here. And you will see, you need to answer these questions just in few seconds. Hence, for any substance to exist in solid state, intermolecular forces must be greater than thermal energy. Now the question, and you need to tell me in the chat box. A substance exists as solid only when, which option is correct? Okay. Ashi, Shashwat, Arohi, Armina, Shivandi, Vanna, Divya, Sneha, Mehak. Good. So it means you got the point. Yes, Sohani, Preeta. Good. So it will be only if intermolecular forces are stronger than thermal energy. Next, the constituent particles of a solid have. Which option is correct? Preeta, Tuhina, correct. Ashi, Yastika, Mehak, Sneha, correct. Okay, others need to think about, I just told you that they will have vibratory motion or oscillatory motion. So they will have only vibratory motion. C is the correct answer. You need to be active on chat window, everyone. Just make it a habit that you keep on answering the questions, what I ask. Now, classification of solids. Classification at a broad level, classification of solids is done in 2 categories. The first one is crystalline, second one amorphous. Crystalline and amorphous. When we talk about the difference, on what basis they are distinguished, the basis is how they are ordered. What is the order of arrangement? How they are arranged. And the difference is very simple. Crystalline is arranged symmetrically. crystalline are arranged symmetrically and they have long range order. So I'll talk about that. Okay. So crystalline will look like this. They will be symmetric and they will have repeating units. What I mean by repeating units, suppose this is one unit. You will see that this unit is repeating. This unit is repeating every time. This unit in all directions, this unit is repeating. And it will keep on repeating up to large extent, okay? From one point to a far away point, not for very small distance, okay? And in all directions. These type of solids will be classified as crystalline solids. And in amorphous, it will be like this. They are not arranged in a particular order. And even if they repeat, there are repeating units, that will be only for very short range. Yeah. So even if it appears that one unit is repeating, for example, you can see that this unit and this unit are similar, but very few. They will not have long range order. So what we will say here in crystalline solids, we have long range order. Why long range order? Because the units are repeating continuously, okay, for a large distance. But in amorphous, they will have short range order. You might see some order, but for a very short duration. These are all the differences. And these actually summarize very answers to quite a few questions. So if you can understand these properties, you will be able to answer quite a few theoretical questions based on crystalline and amorphous solids. So first is shape. If we talk about shape, crystalline solids have definite geometrical shape. Remember, we are not talking about the shape you are looking, okay? What is visible to us. We are talking about shape seen through microscope, how they are arranged. So that's why written geometrical shape. So geometrical shape will be definite, means it will be some defined shape and that will remain same. But amorphous, irregular shape, as you can see here. Some definite shape within the structure, no definite shape within the structure. Then the melting point. And this one is very important. And next one is also very important. They melt at sharp and characteristic temperature. Sharp temperature means if we say that the melting point is 300 degrees Celsius, so they will melt at 300 degrees Celsius. If we say 300.5 degrees Celsius, it will be 300.5 degrees Celsius. And there is a reason behind that. Okay. I'll explain. But in case of amorphous, they gradually soften over a range of temperature. For example, glass. If you start heating glass, you can initially bend it, or plastic. If you start heating plastic, initially you can bend it, and after that it will melt. Some part will melt slowly, and then it will melt completely. So it will not melt at a sharp temperature. Crystalline solids will melt at sharp temperature. Amorphous solids will not melt at sharp temperature. Rather, there will be a range of temperature. For example, if I say amorphous solid will melt from temperature 150 degrees Celsius to 160 degrees Celsius. So it will start melting at 150 degrees Celsius, but completely it will melt at 160 degrees Celsius. Now, what might be the reason for that? The reason is in their structures. If you see the structures carefully, you will find that the crystalline solids are divided in layers. Now, if I say that I need to separate, these two, this one and this one, any two, it will be actually similar. So the force required to remove this one from this one and to remove this one from this one will be same. The energy required to remove these two layers basically. So what I am saying that these are divided into layers, and if you remove one layer from another layer, each particle will require same energy to get detached because these are symmetrical layers. All atoms or particles of one layer will be removed at a particular energy level from the other layer. Similarly, then afterwards, this layer you need to remove from another layer. So here layers are removed. And remember this keyword layer will be used many a times in crystalline solids. So layer is keyword related to crystalline solids. So that's why, because here layers are detached, the temperature required is constant. All atoms need same energy to get detached from the other atom. Now come to amorphous solids. In amorphous solids, if I want to remove this atom is attached to this only two atoms. Okay? But if I want to remove this atom is attached to three atoms. It means at 150 degrees Celsius, this one will go out because this is attached to only one, this one. This atom is attached to only one. So my example, 150 degrees Celsius to 160 degrees Celsius, why there is range? The range is because the atoms which are not tightly bonded, attached to other atoms, will get detached at lower temperature. They will need less energy. Then second, this atom will get detached. And afterwards, the one in the last, which is attached to maximum number of atoms. So that's why there is a range in melting point in case of amorphous solids. Is that clear? Remember the word layer has to be mentioned when you are talking about the sharp melting point. And if anything is not clear, you always have access to chat window, your mics are enabled. Just let me know if you have any problem. Now the next point. And this point is most important amongst all, cleavage property. Cleavage means division. Okay? It means we are dividing the solid, whether it is crystalline or amorphous, in two parts. When cut with a sharp edge tool, for example, very sharp knife, the crystalline solids is split into two pieces and the newly generated surfaces are plain and smooth. For example, if you cut a metal object with sharp cutter, you will find that the surface you get are very smooth, shiny and smooth. But if you cut a PVC pipe, for example, then you or fiber artwork, then you will see that the edges will be irregular, the surface will be rough. So this is the property known as cleavage property. Now, why this is very important? The importance is that why is it so? Why when we cut the crystalline solids, the surfaces are very smooth and plain, and why when we cut the amorphous solids, the surfaces are irregular or rough? The reason is again in the shape. And again, the keyword related to this property is layer. When you cut a crystalline solid, it gets cut around a layer. So these are again the layers. So it can be cut along this, or it can be cut along this because you have to remove the layers. And you know, after removal, the layer will be very smooth because all the particles are in one plane. But if you cut an amorphous solid, then if you cut like this, then surface will be like this because that atom will go away, this atom will go away, this will go away, this will go away because you can't cut the atom actually. So wherever it is some part of the atoms, half or more, it will actually go away. So the surface will be like this. And this is not a smooth surface. The reason is cleavage property is shown by crystalline solids because layers get detached from other layer and layers are smooth. In case of amorphous solids, there are no layers, there is short range order. That's why the surfaces are rough when cut by sharp object. Yes, Divya, correct. You had already answered that. Good. Now, heat of fusion. Heat of fusion is actually related to melting point. When melting point is sharp, you will need a definite heat to raise the temperature. So suppose the normal temperature is 25 degrees Celsius and you have to raise the temperature till 300 degrees Celsius, exactly 300 degrees Celsius. So the amount of heat will always be same to raise the temperature from 25 to 300. But in this case, in case of amorphous, they do not have definite heat of fusion because even if it is 25, you might need to raise it till 150 or you might need to raise it till 160. You don't know at what temperature it will melt. So the heat provided for fusion, that is melting, will be different. Now repeating, if any point is not clear, let me know. Now next one, and make it a habit from the beginning. Anisotropy. This is the property where many students make mistakes. So be attentive. If you are sitting just lethargically, be attentive. Anisotropy. Now let me see who is sitting and not paying attention. Just a second. Paying attention. Anisotropy is very important from examination perspective. Understand this one. First, crystalline solids are anisotropic and amorphous solids are isotropic. So what is this property, isotropic or anisotropic? For that, you need to understand with this diagram. Now in crystalline solids, the molecules or atoms, these atoms can be of same type. If it is metal, for example, or if it is solid, there are different types of atoms, there will be different atoms. Okay? So that's why I have shown different atoms. Say this, these are A type atoms in the same solid, and these are B type atoms. But if it is crystalline, both will be arranged in a symmetrical manner. Okay? You can explain an isotropic property just with one type of atoms. Okay, there is no problem if you take just one time. If this question appears in examination, you draw the diagram, just have one type of atoms. Okay? Now, what is here? What is anisotropy? Anisotropy is actually the property, for example, refractive index. So isotropy I am talking about, refractive index from different directions. I'm repeating, refractive index. This is just an example. There are other properties also which can be explained on this basis. For example, refractive index in one solid, suppose I have X-rays. So this is one X-ray, BA, okay, and I pass from this point. And remember, this is crystalline solid. And I pass the same ray DC like this. Now here symmetry actually creates unsymmetrical behavior. Symmetry leads to, in this case, symmetry leads to unsymmetrical behavior. In first case, if you see, if I say it is refractive index, or I take another example also, I have X-ray like this, one X-ray like this one, third one. Now in BA, it has to travel this much length. Okay, there is no hindrance. Fine. In case of DC, it has to travel different distance within the same solid, same block of solid. But if I say I have this one here, even it has hindrance from the atoms. It actually passes through the particles, which might block the X-ray or any other ray. It means the property is not same in all directions. The property is not same from all the directions. For example, if I have a ray like this, it will pass through 5 atoms. There is great hindrance here. But if I have a ray passing like this, it will pass without any hindrance. So the property of refractive index is different from different sides or angles or directions. So because it is different, that's why it is known as anisotropic. N actually, which is not isotropic. So isotropic is the word which says that the property is same from all the sides. That is isotropic. If it is not same from all the sides, then it is termed as anisotropic. Just repeat it to yourself and let me know if you were not able to understand it. Isotropic means the property. There might be different examples, but uh, you don't need to go into those details. Nobody is going to ask you which type of properties except refractive index. Refractive index is required because at least that is mentioned in your book. But other properties might not be required. You just need to remember that properties are different from different directions, then it is anisotropic. Now, why it is isotropic in nature or amorphous? The reason is because from different directions, it averages out. See the diagram, it averages out. What happens? Suppose here it is hindrance, but after that there is no hindrance here. So it is hindrance, no hindrance, no hindrance like that. I'm just showing a very small piece. And this is just even not 1 millimeter. What portion I have shown, this is just picometers. So when we will have a block, it will have very large distance. And during that large distance, there will be somewhere blockage, somewhere no blockage. So that's why the properties will get averaged out in all directions. So effectively, there will be hardly any difference from any direction. So in all directions, the refractive index will be same because at some point it will find hindrance, at some point there won't be any hindrance. And that will happen in all directions because amorphous solids are not symmetrical. So there will be some gaps and there won't be some gaps at some places. Is that clear? So in case of amorphous solids, the refractive index property or similar properties get averaged out. So you actually get average property in all directions. In case of crystalline solids, the property is not averaged out. Sometimes there will be hindrance, sometimes there won't be hindrance, sometimes there will be medium hindrance. This property, many students make mistake because it is something that isotropic is related to amorphous. Normally, we have talked about that if it is symmetry, if it is symmetrical, it is crystalline. So don't get confused symmetry with isotropy. Symmetrical will not be isotropic. And that's where students are confused sometimes. So remember, Anisotropy is shown by crystalline solids because these are symmetrical, and amorphous solids are isotropic. Now, nature, these are true solids. Amorphous solids are known as pseudo solids or supercooled liquids. For example, the glass. I will talk about this in a few minutes. Okay. The true solids, for example, metals are crystalline solids. So remember what I am saying, metals are crystalline solids. The compounds, chemical compounds, for example, barium sulfate, barium chloride, naphthalene, these are crystalline solids. Other things will be amorphous solids, Teflon, plastic, polythene, okay, fiber, glass, everything will be amorphous. Then order in arrangement. This is something I have told you. Long range order means they will repeat, the units will repeat themselves for very long distance. Here you will have only short range order. All these properties you need to remember. Certainly there will be one question from this table. Okay. Now, although question is not asked from here, but sometimes you might get, we have crystalline solids, amorphous solids, but there is one more type of solid, polycrystalline solid, where it is in between the crystalline and amorphous solids. So you might be asked, what are polycrystalline solids? You just need to mention that when we are talking about some short range order, okay, but some long range order also. But it is not symmetrical throughout. So it is in between crystalline and amorphous solid, then it is known as polycrystalline solid. Now the question, and I have already given you hint for that which are the amorphous solids which are crystalline solids. So who will give me the answer? First one, polyurethane. Poly means something like polythene. What will be the answer? Polyurethane is okay. One good. Okay, so I'm just going through these one by one. Manish, think again. Armina, correct. Okay, I'm going through one by one. Okay, polyurethane. Wherever you see the word poly, it is something like polythene. And polythene, plastic, etc. These things are amorphous. If you heat these will first, bend and then will melt slowly, not at a sharp temperature. Yes, many answers correct. So it is amorphous. Next, naphthalene. Naphthalene has a specific shape. So it is crystalline compound, a specific structure. So molecules will be arranged in a specific manner. It can't be that molecules are arranged in different manner at different places. So these have to be crystalline solids. Yes, let me see who had given me correct answer. Vanna, Tuhina, Devye, Ashi, Geeta, Mehak, Arohi. Correct. Good. Now the next one. Benzoic acid. I told you the chemical compounds. So tell me the answer. Chemical compounds will be okay. Shastra. Good. Ashi. Yes, correct. No, Preeta. No, Sneha. Yastika, correct. I told you these acids, salts, chemical compounds will be crystalline. Chemical compounds will be crystalline. Acids, solid acid, obviously we are talking about, okay, when these are in solid form. So means temperature is so low that thermal energy is less than intermolecular forces. So that is the condition there. We are not talking about liquid. So if it is salt, base, acid, or organic compounds, organic crystals, naphthalene, for example, these will be crystalline. Teflon. Teflon is a type of polymer. We have a whole chapter here in 12th, polymer. We will talk about Teflon there as well. So if it is a polymer, it will be amorphous. Yes, correct answers. Okay, everyone correct. Good. It is amorphous. Next, potassium nitrate. I told you about chemical compounds. So tell me potassium nitrate will be crystalline or amorphous? Okay. Mehak, Ashi, Shivangi, Shashwat, Lisa, Devya. Correct. Good. Sujina, Suhani, Sneha. Correct. Potassium nitrate is chemical compound. It will be crystalline. Cellophane. Cellophane is a sort of polymer again, plastic. So it will be amorphous. Many questions you will get on these type of identification. You should be able to answer. Polyvinyl. So wherever poly appears, you will compare it with polythene, etc. Okay. Yes. Amorphous, amorphous. Very good. So you guys have understood the point. Very good. Fiberglass. So again, it is fiber. So it will be, just tell me the answer, whether it will be crystalline or, okay, Shashwat, correct. Ashi, Rita, correct. Devi, correct. Mehak, think again. This is fiber, which is glass, sort of. Shivangi, correct. Arohi, correct. Ani, Sneha, Suhina, correct. So it will be amorphous. Copper. Copper is a metal. And I told you the metal one. Okay, Shashwat, correct. Shivangi, Ashi, quick and correct answers. Rita, Sohani, Armina, Sneha, Mehak. Good. Everyone needs to answer. I want everyone active. Not even a single student will sit lethargically. Okay. Uh, Yastika, think correct. Yastika, correct. Mehak, correct. Okay, Sneha. So everyone is correct basically. So copper is a metal. Metals are crystalline. Now let's go. And this is something I said that I will be talking about it when I said glass is amorphous. Why is glass considered a super cooled liquid? And the reason is liquids have a property of flow. If you have any liquid and it can flow. So that's why this is known as fluid. Glass also has fluidic property, but it is so slow that it is not visible to us. So what actually happens, for example, in window panes, you have glass there. So initially, if you see the cross-sectional view of it, glass cross-sectional view will look like this. Suppose we are looking from this side, okay? So if we look from this side, cross-sectional view will look like this. So this is when it is new glass. But after few years, say 5 years, 10 years, if we measure the thickness of the glass, we will see that at the top, thickness will be less than previous one, and at the bottom, thickness will be more than initial. It means the glass has moved from top to bottom. So it has the property of flowing. So fluidic property. That's why it is known as supercooled liquid. Supercooled means its thermal energy is such that it is very close to the intermolecular forces. It is less than intermolecular forces, but very close to intermolecular forces. So in other words, it has been cooled at such a temperature that it behaves as solid. It is similar to, for example, you have water, you cooled it to 0 degrees Celsius, it converts to ice. So that's why it is known as super cooled liquid, because it has a property, fluidic property, but the rate of flow is very slow. Now, this is the question I need answer from everyone in chat box. Okay. Refractive index of a solid is observed to have the same value along all directions. Comment on the nature of this solid. Preeta has given me correct answer. Nature. Okay, Shashwat, you need to tell me which type of solid it is. Yeah. Uh, yes, property is correct. First, tell me the solid. First question is comment on the nature of this solid, whether it is crystalline or amorphous. Ashi, correct. Shashwat, correct. Uh, Yashtika, think again. Arohi, think again. Armina, think again. Mehak, Devya, correct. Anish, think again. Tuhina, think again. That's what I said, that most of the students initially may not get this answer correct. Now the refractive index is same from all the directions. So if it is same, it means it got averaged out. And if it got averaged out, it is amorphous. Recall that property. Is that clear to those ones? Just let me know if you are not able to answer the question. Is that clear now? Okay, good, good, very good. Every point right from the beginning, make sure that you understand. So it is amorphous. Would it show cleavage property? Cleavage property is that when you cut, the surface should be smooth. Understand it again. When you cut with a sharp object, the surface should be smooth. If the surface is smooth, we say it shows cleavage property. So tell me whether it will show cleavage property or not. Okay, Divya, Shivangi, Preeta, Anish, Shashwat, Varna, Tuhina, Ashi. Correct. Good. Good. Sneha, no, it will not show cleavage property because it is amorphous. And amorphous solids, when cut by sharp object, will result in a rough surface. So if it is rough surface, it is not smooth, no cleavage property. So understand the statement. We say that a solid shows cleavage property if the surface is smooth after cutting. Yes, Arvina. So initially you need to practice these questions. These are confusing. The refractive index is same in case of amorphous, but it will not show cleavage property. And the reason is, in this case, if you pass the ray from here, it will have no hindrance. If from here, it will have maximum hindrance. So it means the refractive index property is not same. In this case, it will get averaged out. Crystalline solids will show cleavage property. Amorphous solids will not show cleavage property because their surfaces will be is in case of crystalline is smooth, in case of amorphous rough. Now, quartz is a crystalline form of glass. Both are same. The chemical formula for quartz and glass is same. The only difference is if it is in crystalline form, it is known as quartz. If it is in amorphous form, it is known as glass. That's the only difference. Next point you need to remember, pitch is an amorphous solid. So this is asked many a time. So you need to remember this example. Pitch is something you can consider, semi-solid form of coal tar like coal tar. Okay. So that is known as pitch. And pitch is amorphous. Next question. What makes a glass different from quartz? I have told you just now. Glass is amorphous, quartz is crystalline. Otherwise, they are same thing. So that is the difference you will mention. Now, the next question is, under what conditions could quartz be converted into glass? Under what conditions quartz can be converted into glass? Now, this holds true for most of the conversions, such conversions. Okay. So if we have to convert quartz to glass, what we need to do? We need to disturb its orderedness. Quartz is ordered, symmetrical nature, okay? The molecules are ordered, long range order. So we need to disturb its order. So what we can do, I see I have received a few answers probably. Yes, that is one part, they were correct. Shivangi, correct. That is one step into it. So very good that you have got that point. Good. So that is the first step we will be doing. We will be heating it. So if we heat, that is the thermal energy, as you have mentioned, we will provide the thermal energy. So we will heat the quartz. The first step will be, we will heat and melt it. Then whatever we get, cool it rapidly. Now cooling it rapidly will not give it sufficient time to arrange the molecules in same ordered way. Because if it is in melt position, this is liquid now. And in liquid, the molecules are not ordered. They don't have any order. They can move. So if they are disordered here in this phase, and we cool it very rapidly, it will convert to amorphous form. An amorphous form of glass, quartz is glass. Two steps, heat it, okay, or you can say melt it and then cool it rapidly. The underlying concept is same, disturb its orderedness. Now next question. Amorphous substances show, and I need answer from you. You know the reason. Okay, Preeta, Ashish, Suhani, good. Correct. Mehak, think again. Tuhina, correct. Yastika, that is just one. Tell me the option A, B, C, D. Arohi, think again. Shivangi, think again. Just go through it with A, B, C, D. First, capital A, capital B, capital C, which are correct, and then select the option. Okay. Arohi, Shivangi, Anish, you try again. Sneha, correct. Divya, correct. So give me answer in second attempt. Yastika, no. It might be. Just let me see. Okay, I might be wrong. Just let me check. Mm, I think most of you were correct. Just let me see. Just okay. Who gave what answer? I'll have to recheck. Now, when I recheck, now I'm telling you who is correct, who is not. Okay. Okay. So now Mahak is correct. Then Shashwat correct. Tuhina correct. Arohi correct. Shivangi correct. Anish correct. Rita correct. Yastika correct. Ashi, yes, correct. Armina correct. Vanna, you need to mention the option. However, your answer is correct. Okay. Swahani correct. Vanna, yes, correct. I have already said. Sneha correct. Okay, good. So if I consider here amorphous will have short range order and will not have sharp melting point. So it means B and B and D are in D option. So D will be the correct answer. So most of the answers were actually correct. Now the next question. Which of the following is not a characteristic of crystalline solid? And remember, when I give this question in examination, many students answer wrong. So be careful, which will not show a characteristic of crystalline solid. Good, good. So Hina, Mehak, I'll have Ashi, Tuhina, Preeta, Mehak, Shashwat, Sneha. Yashtika, just mention the option, okay? You can avoid writing so much in the chat window. Vanna correct, Yastika correct, Div correct, Shivani correct, Rohi correct, Shashwat yes, Sohani yes, correct. All the answers I have received correct, and this is first time I think after so many years that all have answered correctly. So crystalline solids are not isotropic. So which of the following is not a characteristic of crystalline solid? This is not a characteristic of crystalline solids. Next question. Which among the following will show anisotropy? Okay, Ashi, Preeta, Mehak, correct. Ashtika, Tuhina, Anish, Sneha, Anish, correct. Sneha, think again. Vanna, Divya, Sohani, Shashwat, correct. Arohi, think again. Armina, correct. So basically, read the question carefully. Those who didn't answer B, think again. The question is, which among the following will show anisotropy? Means it has to be crystalline solids. Crystalline solids show anisotropy. And I told you that chemical compounds are crystalline solids. So just consider which type of solid we are talking about. And anisotropy is related to crystalline solids. Next question. A pseudo solid is a pseudo solid is Mehak, correct answer. Uh, just let me. Okay. Shivangi, correct. Sneha, think again. Shashwat, correct. Arshi, correct. Arohi, correct. Anish, correct. Manna, correct. Geeta, correct. Yastika, correct. Shivangi, think again. Okay, Mehak, I have already said correct. Okay. Sneha, now correct. Tuhina, correct. Armina, correct. Good. So I told you that both glass and pitch are amorphous solids, and we talked about that amorphous solids are also known as pseudo solids or supercooled liquids. Amorphous solids are also called pseudo solids or supercooled liquids. So this question is actually about amorphous solids, and glass and pitch both are amorphous solids. Okay? Next, most crystals show good cleavage because their atoms, ions, or molecules are correct. Arohi, think again. Mehak, think again. Shashwat, correct. Anish, correct. Sneha, think again. Tuhina, correct. Shivangi, correct. Suhani, yes, correct. Yastika, correct. Preeta, correct. Mehak, now correct. Good. So I told you one keyword related to layers, and layers are actually formed by planes. So crystalline solids have layers, means they have arranged in planes one over the other. All layers are arranged in planes one over the other. Next question. Which of the following is not a crystalline solid? Shashwat, Devya, Tuhina, Mehak, Shivangi, Preeta, Arohi, Ashi. Vanna, Sneha, Anish. Correct. Good. Suhani, Yastika. Very good. Okay. So not crystalline solid means we are talking about amorphous solid, and amorphous solid is glass here.